Great.
Do you want a snack? Sometimes I question myself. Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, should I care more? Should I be more? Should I be more like rah? Like, right? Like, there's no way I'm the next Ghandi.
Yeah.
Like, I can appreciate all of his good doings, but like, that's just, I'm here to make sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like.
All right. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. What's your name?
Kourtney.
And how old are you?
I am 29.
Okay.
I had to think about it because I am always asked about my child, not about myself.
And who are you on a soul level?
So I've been thinking about this question because I've watched some of your videos, and I find it very interesting that everybody can answer this question. I don't know. I think that for me, I kind of know, but it's not just I am this or I am that. I think that I, at a soul level, am just a kind and caring person. And just I feel like I'm a pretty simple person, and I sometimes find that boring about myself, but at the same time I appreciate that about myself. But I don't really know, and I kind of like that I don't really know. At the same time, I think it's I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I don't feel like I need to know.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I try to not figure everything out all the time.
Okay, that's fair. Is there anything going on in the world today or anything that's happened in your life that's kind of made you this person who doesn't really know, but you're nice and kind and simple and...
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that a lot of times I see my friends or people or social media or just everything is just so complicated all the time and just sensitive, or just I'll talk to people and just everything is just such a big deal and all these layers, and I just am why are you doing that to yourself, or why does life need to be that difficult?
Mm-hmm.
I feel sometimes I'm am I not doing it right? I don't know, I just live my life and I'm happy about my simple life. Yeah. And I don't think it needs to be as chaotic. I think part of it too, I lived with a lot of chaos by my own making for a while, so now I relish in the serenity. And I talk to people about it, and I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And the past couple years I've just been enjoying both feet on the ground and without any shoes on at all. You know what I mean? Just being more comfortable where I'm at and not trying to analyze the fuck out of everything.
True.
Because I just feel that happens so much. Everybody's just reading into everything and I don't know, just trying to always dig for something more than that's probably really there. Just taking things for what they are and at face value.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so I'm going to give you 3 categories, and you can mix and match these things how you want to.
Okay.
You're just going to talk about what means the most to you and what means the least to you.
Okay.
So the first category is love, sex, and relationships. The next category is society, culture, and politics. And the third category is spirituality and or religion. And you can mix and match the things if there's stuff in the different,
I definitely think, I don't know. So I think the bottom for me is the society, culture, and politics. That is the least important to me. That one's easy. I think for me, So I think that spirituality and religion, I would like to be my number one, but I think I have a habit of putting relationships and sex and love before my spirituality. It's something that ideally I would like to be like God first, relationship second, whatever. I don't always do that very well, but I think it's something I strive to be more towards, right? Like, because I know that when I do put my relationship with my higher power before any other relationship that I have, I am better in all of those relationships. So I think that's the order I would put them in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Why is society, culture, and politics at the bottom?
I think because I have a lot of opinions, I guess, on it. But I think it's at the bottom for me because, to be perfectly honest, I'm not the most educated about it. I just haven't taken that as like a priority for me to like educate myself on. Mm-hmm. So I don't voice my opinions outwardly about it because I can't really articulate it well, and I don't think it's like appropriate to like just share about like my opinion.
Right.
Without like having like really facts behind it. Mm-hmm. And I also think because I don't think anybody's ever gonna get it like right? Like I think it's like it's never gonna be perfect. Like politics in general, I think it's gonna someone's always gonna be pissed off.
Yeah.
I think that the most well-intentioned, well-hearted, well-kinded, most educated person could come in and run office, and it's still going to be screwed up in some way or another because ultimately we're all human. We're all fallible, and the perfect policies could be put in place and the perfect things could be done, and there's still going to be unhappy people, right? And there's still going to be unhappy situations on whatever side of the spectrum there is. So like I just feel like, why should I spend the next 60 years, 70 years of my life, like, worried about it, right? I feel like if I do my part to be the best person that I can be in life and, be kind to, like, my fellows and things like that and not, like, perpetuate any type of, like, negativity towards others, like, that's all I can really do, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I know I'm not running for office next week, right? Like, I know that that's not what I'm on this planet to do, so like I just don't stress myself out about it that much. Yeah. Like it's just because I'm just like, what?
It's a lot, for sure. It's definitely
like
a lot.
What impact am I really gonna make on this planet as one single human being, knowing that that's not the like path that I've chosen? I think individual people can make huge impacts, right? We've seen that with like these activists and like people that have really changed the way society looks, but I know for me that's just like not why I'm here, right? That's just like
it's not at the top of my list. Like,
right, like there's no way I'm the next Ghandi. You
know?
Like I can appreciate all of his good doings, but like that's just, I'm here to make sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
It's just not.
Yay, coloring time. So I want you to pick colors that represent your mood right now and like you as a person in general, and then just tell us why you picked those colors.
How many am I allowed to pick?
As many as you want.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna get you to draw throughout the entire interview, and then show us at the end what you do.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a blue because I think it's very peaceful and calm, and I like it. I'm gonna pick pink because it's exciting and fiery, kind of a little bit. And I guess I will pick purple and gray. Gray because I feel like it kind of is like soft and goes with everything. And purple because I just really like purple.
Me too. I feel that. That's for you. Okay. And then you don't have to finish. Most people don't. Some people do, but some people don't. So whatever happens, happens.
Okay, do I have to like look at you while
No, no, you can just draw and look up when you want to look up. No pressure. So first question, what makes you the most upset?
Makes me the most upset. I might have to edit this part out because I don't know. Let me think about that for a second.
Or what are your pet peeves?
Yeah.
That might be easier.
Makes me the most upset. I know. What makes me the most upset is like disrespect. I think when people don't respect others' opinions, when others' point of view. I know for me, like a huge thing that upsets me is like when my child doesn't respect me. When there's just like a blatant disrespect for and like common courtesy, right? Like we're like all here on this earth together, like let the person in, you know what I mean? Like when you're driving, like unless I'm headed to the hospital, which I'm probably not, like just respecting one another and really just remembering that like we're all on this hell together, you know what I mean? Like we're all doing the thing. We don't need to always be competing for everything all the time, and just like having like that, just, you know, we should be here for each other.
For sure.
And most people don't think that way, or don't at least act that way.
Yeah. Okay. What excites you more than anything?
I think what excites me more than anything is seeing like happiness in others and like seeing other people like feel good and like knowing that I was like a part of that. When I was in college, I did a lot of volunteer work, and I really enjoyed not like being like I did volunteer work, but like just seeing like the little tiny things that I could help out with, like how that makes a difference, and you know, just like kind of being a small part of like the bigger picture. And I don't know, like a friend of mine calls me Mama Bear, and I feel like I've always been Mama Bear in some way, shape, or form. Like I really just get enjoyment of seeing other like giving and like seeing other people just like receive that, I guess, but like not in like a condescending, unhumble way. If that makes sense. Like,
no, yeah, that makes sense.
Like one of my favorite things to do is just like make my family dinner. You know what I mean? And just like watch them enjoy me cook, you know, and like feed them, or you know, just like see that I've contributed to something. That excites me, and Real Housewives, because it's Real Housewives, and I've dedicated the last 12 plus years of my life to it, so the reunions are my favorite. It's like my Super Bowl.
That's amazing. I think that's everyone's favorite, to be honest, because that's when everything just comes to a head.
Right.
Make a facial expression that explains you. Like if you were a facial expression, what would it be?
This is not what I have to think.
Just like really happy?
I think so.
That's so great and cute.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
No, that's great. I'm happy that that's your, that is you. What's your favorite song right now? Or ever, if you don't have one that's like right now?
Right now, okay, I know this sounds really dumb, but I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 recently.
Okay.
And there's this song Brandy in it. It's from like the late 70s, but it's a really cute song and I really like it. Okay. I forget the name of the artist. I'll let you know afterwards.
Okay. Explain to me what social media is to you.
I think for social media, how I utilize it, or just what it is. So what I like to see pictures of your cute kids and your dogs and your food, and like I like it to be nice, you know. Like every now and again I like to watch the little like DIY things, but I know I'm never gonna do them.
Oh, for sure.
But what I actually think social media is, I think that social media is a way for whoever puts things on there that is not pictures of like your kids or like whatever, just like a way for people to push whatever agenda that they have, right? And I think that it's not news. I think that it's not facts always. I think it's pieces of news and pieces of facts, but it's never the full story, right? Anytime we see a snippet of anything, it's a moment of time. It's not the full spectrum of like, this is what happened, or whatever like people put things on there that they want you to see, right? Like, you know, they want you to see them like at the concerts or at this or like at the wineries and drinking the wine with the friends and the smiles and like all of that. People want you to see the bad things that people are doing or whatever. I just think that it's just an outlet for people to see what you want to see, not what's real. Always.
Sure. Good answer.
Thanks.
What's the most challenging thing you've gone through?
The most challenging thing that I have gone through, I don't know, it's kind of like a loaded question. There's a few things. I think most recently was, and I'm still like going through it, but like not really, is just being a single mother. But you know, my perspective has changed on it. You know, when I was going through it, it was like, he left me, he blah, 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 he, look at him, he's awful, what a deadbeat, all of that. And now, like, my perspective is, you know what, like, I kind of knew what I was getting into, right? I wasn't in a relationship that was, like, super healthy and stable, and, like, we were married, and then, like, boom, all of a sudden, like, something tragic happened, and now I'm a single mother. I knowingly kind of chose this, and whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, like, I think at the time it was definitely the most challenging thing that I had went through, and most emotional thing, because I did feel very alone going through it. I think that you know, I think people supported me, but I don't think I was like in the right mindset. I was having like my own like pity party and woe is me and like look how awful my life is, when really, like, in perspective to like the rest of the world, like my life's not that bad. Like, you know, comparatively speaking, like I spent a month in Tanzania, and like my life is perfectly fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In comparison to, you know, when I was like helping mix and pour cement for a school play yard in Guatemala, you know what I mean? Like my life is like not that bad. I think that it was the longest, most emotional thing that I went through, and also I think it's still difficult because a lot of times people want me to be more mad, or like want me to like feel some sort of way about it. They'll be like, oh, he doesn't see your child, blah, blah, and like they like want me to like, I don't know, feel angry, or whatever, and I just really don't harbor resentment towards my son's father, and like I'm okay with that, but I think some people are, but like a lot of people are like kind of confused by it, and they're like, well, shouldn't you like be doing this or doing that or going to court or fighting this and blah blah, and I'm like, it is, you know, whether or not he pays child, it is none of my business. It is between him and the state. You know, like, it is not any of my business. You know what I mean? And really trying to remember that it really is none of my business. And my business is, you know, to make sure that my child has a parent. You know what I mean? Like, that's my job. My job is not to worry about if he has a dad. My job is to worry about if he has a mother. And just do that the best I can. I think that was one of the hardest things I've been through, and yeah, I mean, I think that was like the hardest.
Okay. Do you have any weird habits, or any habits in general that people are just like, you always do that?
I do this weird thing where I like to scratch the back of my throat with my tongue, and it looks really weird when I do it, but I do it all the time. I go like.
You're like, can you see my neck?
But like, I love the way it feels when I scratch the back of my throat with my tongue. And other weird habits that I have, I think that's like my weird, like that's like the weirdest kind of quirky thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like not that weird. I mean, I am. I love watching videos on like YouTube of people popping pimples. I find it so pleasurable to like watch somebody like pop like a really big pimple.
Oh my god, who was I just talking to? I feel like somebody else that I literally just filmed said that same thing, that they're like obsessed.
I just like bodily fluids in general. I just think that they're like so interesting, and like I'm really gross person, like, you know, I'm just kind of gross, right? Like I don't want to disclose too much information. I'm just like gross. I don't know. I'm kind of a freak, but it's fine. But I'm very sweet. That's funny.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen? Or the craziest situation you've ever been in?
I don't know if you consider this crazy, but I thought it was just tragic. So I don't know if that's considered crazy. Like,
tragic can be crazy.
So like I said, I spent a month in Tanzania when I was in college, and like I went to a Catholic university, but let's just say I didn't even know it was Catholic when I applied, even though it was St. Joe's. Like, I had no idea. Right over my head. Not a religious person at all. And so I spent almost a month there. And while I was there, there was a lot of things about being there that was very eye-opening and interesting. It was like the first time I've really ever left the country. Before that, I went to the Bahamas for like 3 days. Like, I never really had left the country before.
Mm-hmm.
Like barely, like only went like outside the East Coast a handful of times. You know what I mean? And while I was there, we worked at an orphanage, right? And did some volunteer work there. And I think the craziest thing was just seeing like all these kids. A lot of them had malaria, and which causes a lot of times like when they're developing for their joints and stuff to remain stiff. So you'll see a lot of kids that like walk around with like their arms just stiff, or like their legs stiff, especially in their knees. So like the kids will run with like this, you know what I mean? They can't run like bending their knees and stuff like that. And like part of it, I had to work like in the infant unit for a little while, for a couple days, and there was like this little girl that had like she was a baby, and she had malaria, and I mean she like just was so sick and sad, and like couldn't really keep anything down, like constantly like had like diarrhea and like vomiting, and just like and it was just like really sad because I just like knew that when I like left, like she wasn't probably gonna make it. And it was just really, because there was really nothing I could do while I was there besides just like hold her and like hold her and like give her love, you know what I mean? And like and the volunteers and the women that like worked there were so like numb to it, I guess. And it was, I mean, they, as much as they were sad, they were so numb to it. Like, I mean, I was a disaster. Like, I can like keep it together now, but like, I mean, I was like I'm putting her in my suitcase and like she's coming home with me. Like I will just have this little baby for myself, and I'm 20 years old, 20 years old.
Yeah.
But she was just the sweetest, most like gentle little baby, and I knew that she wasn't, you know, going to make it really. And I mean, hopefully she did, but it wasn't likely, especially with her being so young and so sick. And also while I was there, I think another thing that was really eye-opening was, part of it was we went to a lot of like villages where they were trying to like empower women to kind of start their own businesses and stuff like that, and kind of make their own means of money, because there's a lot of domestic abuse and a lot of men that like abuse their wives and or like their significant others, and then like leave for like months on end, and then like will randomly come back, make a baby, and then like roll out. And it was very common. And you know, we would go, and and we also like were traveling to like HIV clinics and stuff like that, and you know, like I don't really know how to articulate it, but like the wildest thing about it was how like no big deal it was to like everybody. Like it was like we were there and I was like, oh my God, you know, like, and that's when I came back. Maybe this is why like I feel like I'm like, there's really no big thing that I can do in this world, but like I came back and I was like, oh my God, I gotta change the world, and like I gotta do all these things, and like I'm gonna be this activist and like do all these things and whatever. And when I was there, like the women just kind of had accepted like this is kind of how life is a little bit. And you know, like it was really common for the women to like have HIV.
Oh my God.
And they were just like, well, this is just like how, like as much as they wanted to like, you know, start their own businesses and make their own jewelry and make their own soaps and like make their own dashikis and like make all these things, I think there was like a sense, like I just got this like feeling of like this is kind of how life is, a little bit of a sense. And I think that was almost the most wild part about it, was just that it's not that it's like okay, but it's like it is, you know, like this is how life is, you know, like we don't have clean water and we, you know, we don't have these things, and that's okay, like we just like live our lives, and like, and that it is, you know what I mean? And I think that was the part about it that was almost the wildest.
Yeah.
The wildest about it was just how meh everyone kind of seemed to feel about it.
And like such chaos and tragedy, they were just like, well, this is life.
Yeah. I mean, as much as like they wanted to strive for better things, and don't get me wrong, like the people we talked to definitely wanted to like strive for more. Like there was definitely still like I don't know, like a nonchalantness about it all. Just like, you know, seeing kids with like the guns and like all of that kind of stuff, or I don't know, it was just like wild to be a part of, but like I was definitely like an outcast while I was there, and I was definitely like, I don't, you know, it was wild.
Okay. What are you self-conscious about?
Like more than everything. I think I'm self-conscious. I'm a self-conscious person, right? And that's because I'm selfish and self-centered.
Same.
Ultimately, I care what people think about me. I think that's like one of my biggest parts of me that's probably wrong with me. I think I'm most self-conscious about kind of like I am kind of a boring person, and I think like sometimes I'm like, wow, I really don't have that many interesting things to say. You know, I'm not a self-conscious person like body-wise. I've always been, no matter like what my size or my like figure or whatever, I've always been like pretty comfortable in my own skin in that sense. It's been more of like not as comfortable in my own skin like personality-wise. If that makes sense. Like I'm fine with like the body I was given, it's always been more of like, you know, I find things that I like, but I'm like, you know, like trying to really find the things that are me and are Kourtney. And part of that's because I've put a lot of my identity in, you know, being a mom. Put a lot of my identity in being X person's girlfriend. Putting my identity in other things and not just being like, Kourtney likes to do this, or Kourtney enjoys this, or I like this type of music, or I like, and that's, I think, the biggest thing I've been self-conscious about. And like more so lately, I feel like I've been finding things that like I like and I don't like I like this or I don't like that, and like finally, I think at 29 years old, finally being like, I can have interests. Like that's okay to have. Like I'm a very selfish and self-centered person when it comes to thinking about myself, but not doing things for myself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think will restore connection in our generation? I won't even say the world, because we just talked about how that's not at the top of your to-do list. So as far as our generation goes, what do you think that just anybody can do to increase awareness and be empathetic? And
I just think it's so simple, like treat others the way you want to be treated. You know what I mean? Like just like it's not that complicated. It's just as simple as, you know, the college I went to had this motto that we are men and women with and for others, and that's really, it's kind of religiously sounding, but like that's how I think we should all be, is like men and women with and for others. Like the way that like looks like in my life is like I can be a woman feeding the homeless when I'm at a homeless shelter, but I can sit down and play spades and like get life lessons from them. I'm not just giving and like good job for my hour of community service. I fed the homeless, check, like I'm going to heaven. It's about being like with people and doing and being for them, right? And you know, part of that's like being a voice for the people that can't be, but just like treating others the way you want to be treated, and remembering that, like, you know, when you see the homeless person on the street, like don't look away, like they're still like a person, you know what I mean? Like be like, enjoy your day, you know what I mean? Like just like simple, like treating humans as humans, and like not treating people different because of like how they look, how they feel, how they talk, but just treating people based off of, you know, their actions, and just with like no matter how anybody behaves, with some sort of level of, I don't know, human dignity.
What are you really intense with?
I am really intense with I'm sorry, I'm blinking. I don't know. It's like I'm such a mild person. Am I really intense with? I can like think about other people what they're really intense with, but I'm trying to think about myself. I think that I am really intense when it comes to like making sure that I'm always doing my best. I think I'm definitely my own worst critic, whether that comes to like physical things, like exercising, working out, running, whatever. I think I can be really intense, like at my work, making sure that I'm like the best performer at my job. I can be really intense with like making sure I'm like the best friend that I can be, or the best like girlfriend I can be or the best mom. I definitely put a lot of, I have a friend that says I should all over myself. Like I should be doing this and I should be doing that and I should be at this place or at this place or that place. I think that's something that I'm the most intense at, but I tried really hard to like not be. You know, like I do my best to like take it back and be like, it's okay if you don't get everything on the to-do list done. It's okay if, you know, you didn't word that email perfectly back to that person. It's okay if I like screamed and hollered at my kid today. He got fed and he's fine and he's physically well off. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think I'm the most intense about is like my expectations of myself.
Okay. And last question, what do you have to say to the world?
I would have to say to the world, again, I would just say, you know, just like be a good person, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated. Hold the door open, say please and thank you. Like, just bring it back to like that we are all equals and we are all on this planet together, like just trying to do our best. And hopefully we're all trying to do our best and just not be so like competitive, right? I think competition is healthy and good, but it's not always how we win, right? Being competitive doesn't always equal winning, in my opinion. Like, I think that I do the best when I'm just doing the best that Kourtney can do, not doing the best that I can do compared to so-and-so.
So just by like not comparing yourself to others, that's a win.
Yeah, like I think just like doing the best that like I can do on any given day, and you know, like I said, like being like men and women with and for others, and like just trying to like make sure that when I leave this earth, I didn't screw anything up too bad, you know what I mean? And hopefully I did like a pretty good job with like what I was supposed to be doing here.
Right.
You know, like the way I look at it, like the reason I'm on this planet is like to be a mom to my son and do the best job I can with that, you know, to be the best friend I can be, the best daughter I can be, like just to be the best that I can be, not the best of everybody else, just whatever I can do, and like not do it perfectly most days, but yeah, I mean, that's all I would have to say to the world. Like, and just don't take your life, like just don't take yourself too fucking seriously, because everybody is so uptight all the time and takes themselves way too seriously. Like, whether I'm at work or whatever, I'm just like let's just chill for a second, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, not everything, there's really not that many big deals. Like, there are, but like if you break it down, it's really not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still gonna eat, I'm still gonna like get to, you know what I mean? Like, the things, everything, I've always found that when I try to worry about something and I try to figure it out, and I'm like, whatever, shit always goes crazy. Always. Always, always, always. When I'm just like, man, we're not gonna be able to go to the grocery store this week. Money's really tight, you know what I mean? Like, somehow, like, miraculously, my son's father paid his child support that he hadn't paid in like 2.5 years, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like it's like things always work out that the way that they're supposed to, whether, and it's 90% of the time it is not of my doing, right? Like, as long as like I'm doing the task that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm like doing my dishes, and I'm taking out my trash, and I'm vacuuming my house, and like doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, like all these big world problems just seem to work themselves out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and if I have like a very little tiny small part in that, like, awesome. But just like not taking things too seriously, because I see things all the time on like social media or like wherever, and it's just like everybody's so serious all the time. I'm like, isn't that exhausting? Like how are you not tired? Like care, like I don't know. And maybe I should care.
Tired.
Maybe I should care more.
I think everyone strives to be as carefree as you.
Like I sometimes I question myself. Like am I doing something wrong? Like should I care more? Should I be
I think it's a
more
gift.
Should I be more like rah like, because like I do care. Like it's not that I don't, right? Like at one point in time before I had Henry, like I wanted to go into immigration law. That's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be an activist for immigrants this side of the border. And that's what I thought I was going to go to law school for. And then I got pregnant and those plans kind of changed. But, you know, I still have my feelings about those things. But I, like, don't go to bed, like, trying to solve the world's problems in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I just think about, like, my grocery list and then I go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not always trying to solve the world's problems because they're not going to get solved by me in my head before I go to sleep at night. Like, it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, that just, I don't know. But I see other people all the time, like, and I have a lot of people in my life that are, like, all about the rah-rah, and I'm like, that is awesome. Sounds exhausting.
Oh my God.
Why are you not tired?
Show us what you drew.
Oh my God, my picture's awful, and I'm actually a decent drawer. I'm decent. I was an R2GT, okay? I drew this really ugly flower.
Whatever. It's a good flower. I like it.
Really ugly, and I could have done a much better job if I wasn't talking. And then I was like gonna draw grass, and then I was regretting that I didn't pick green. And then I was like trying to work on something.
You could have like reached in there and got
No, I followed the rules. I'm a rule follower. And then these are some just like, you know, clouds. Maybe they're gonna turn into flowers. I don't know.
Who knows? But I love it. I think it's great.
And they kind of match the like swirls in my earrings a little bit. These are my favorite earrings. I wore them because they're my favorite. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, Kourtney. That was great. You did a great job.
Thanks. Sorry. My life's not that interesting.
I think it's great.
Do you want a snack? This is Kourtney in the flesh.